Welcome, everybody, to today's webinar. Robert Gorsuch will kick us off.
Thanks, Diana. I'd like to welcome everyone to today's webinar, where we'll be talking about how to unlock the hidden value of SaaS data to support operational growth. More specifically, we'll be taking a closer look at how we can achieve a more streamlined inventory control by migrating and enriching data from an on-premise application to a cloud-based data platform. We'll do this by highlighting a very specific use case and cover the key aspects of an implementation for a customized solution for Aeriz. Aeriz is the premier cannabis distributor in the US and a brand known for producing aeroponically grown cannabis. To tell us more about this organization and their operations nationwide, I've invited Joe Jones, who's the Chief Information Officer at Aeriz, to today's webinar. He's going to provide us a bit more detail around the challenges, the pain points, and our common journey, as well as the expected outcome of our collaboration so far. My name is Robert Gorsuch, and I'm the Principal Sales Engineer at Actian. And for more than 10 years, my main task is to consult prospective customers on our capabilities to provide enterprise-grade software solutions that meet the demands for a variety of different use cases and domains. I'd like to turn it over now to Joe. Hi, Joe. How you doing?
Hey, Robert. Thanks for the warm introduction. So my name is Joe, as Robert said. I'm the CIO at Aeriz, and Aeriz is not just a cultivator, not just a distributor, not just a seller or a manufacturer. We're kind of a full stack when it comes to cannabis. So we do everything from what we like to say from clone to sale. We educate the public. We do things in a sustainable manner, and we produce some of the best cannabis that you can buy in the United States. We like to lean into our technology to be able to do this. This means that we have some pretty advanced systems for our aeroponic cultivation, and as such, those provide their own challenges and their own opportunities, I guess, to be able to collect a lot of information that we can, help make business decisions eventually with that data.
All right, thanks, Joe. That was a really nice summary of who Aeriz is. So at the beginning of our collaboration, right, you pointed out a number of challenges that you were faced with, right, when it came to using the current ecosystem that you have in place. Can you tell us a little bit about those challenges?
Yeah, absolutely, Robert. It was kind of interesting. At the beginning of what we were doing, we realized that, as I said before, we had a lot of data that we were collecting. Using machinery and computers to help with cultivation means that we're collecting a lot of different data points that can help. When we can see those data points, it can help us drive business decisions. One of the challenges though that we had is it requires a lot of time, a lot of person hours to be able to take that data and put it in a way that makes sense so that we can help make those business decisions. So really it's seeing that stuff in real time was one of the things that we were trying to do. Also, if you don't see data in real time, it's difficult to see if there's any data inconsistencies. So, if I'm looking at cultivation data or yield data or things like that, and I'm looking at it with a time delay, let's say, which is one of the other challenges. If I'm looking at a 30-day or even a 2-day time delay, I can't tell if some of that data has problems with it if it's not in real time. Probably one of the other big things is all of that work that goes into cleaning and making the data useful. It really, with our current system in Illinois, we use BioTrack THC, and we were unable to get out of the box reports that fulfilled our needs. So that was one of the things that we were also trying to solve for. And then probably the other big thing is just having those consistent reports. So, different people in different parts of the operation require specific reports that help them drive their daily activities. Again, you have those in time delay, you have those inconsistent, or if you have those that are only partial visibility, that partial visibility of data, then you're not going to be able to make the best decisions in a timely manner.
Well, thanks for that, Joe. So yeah, we spend a good amount of time, right, on doing a discovery and capturing all of the challenges and pain points that you just mentioned, right? And then that really spoke to the proposed solution that we had in mind, right? And the solution is the Actian data platform, which we are using to analyze the data that we imported or migrated from the BioTrack THC application, or more specifically, the backend database, which happens to be a Postgres database, to provide those real-time inventory management insights, and then to furthermore provide the executives with the performance insights on the entire product lifecycle and supply chain at Aeriz. Right. The expected outcome, I think, Joe, you would agree, was that with the Actian platform, Aeriz is now in a position to analyze the complete inventory data, enrich that data even with other sources such as the general ledger and Salesforce, to deliver an accurate inventory-related reports, cultivation statistics, to enable timely financial planning and analysis, and then hence optimize the entire supply chain.
Yeah, 100%. I think having or the solution that I guess your team came up with and has been deploying to us really allows us to take all of those disparate data sources, move them into one spot, analyze them there if we need to, or move them over to, like you said, our other financial platform or our supply chain platform, and be able to look at them there in a useful way.
Yeah, well, absolutely, yes. So then during our engagement, right, and during the discovery phase, we also had an opportunity to talk to the team at large at Aeriz, right? So we had an opportunity to talk to all of the stakeholders involved to do a more broader discovery around all of the business processes that impact your business. So we discovered, for instance, once again, that there were a number of technical limitations related to accessing the data that is part of the application that you're using, and that you lack the time and resources, right, to really deal with that application or drill down into the application to get the most value out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you can see here, but one of the things, I guess, if you were to classify it, is it really fell into three categories, right? So there's the limitations of the software we're using. We can't really see things in a way that we want to see it. It doesn't collect all of the data points. We'd have to grab multiple reports. And then that delay, that time delay really hurt us. Like, you're looking at things at 30 days delayed, 15 days delayed, even 2 days delayed. You can't make good business decisions when you're looking at data that's old. And then really the last part that is so important is the amount of time it took our staff to do things when it could be better spent. I mean, these are things that software or technology could be solving for, and we're having people having to do those things. It's just a waste of resources all around for us. Yeah,
understood, Joe. So the challenges that you mentioned and that we just talked about, right, unique to Aeriz, but we found in general that they're not just unique to your organization, but these are common challenges that we see in a variety of different industries and verticals when it comes to supply chain management. So according to a study done by MLC Data Mastery and Analytics, they conducted a survey in 2023, and that survey, almost half of all respondents noted that it is really hard, if not impossible, to extract data from legacy systems such as BioTrack, THC, and other applications. And that's secondly, that the organizations lack the skills to analyze then the data effectively, right? Furthermore, right, like you said, Joe, combining data from disparate data sources, that integration needed to get the data from different data sources and normalize and synchronize that data is also a major concern, according to that survey. Other things that were noted in the survey was the lack of systems to capture complete data. And then lastly, and maybe even most importantly, was that there was a lack of data quality due to the other challenges that are outlined here in that survey.
Yeah, you know what's if you go back there, you know what's interesting about this here, just to add some real world context. So when we engaged you all and the Actian team, you know, at large, it was as we were expanding our software presence in our other states. So we had, it's funny that this is up here, we had these challenges and seen these challenges in California. So as we took multiple financial softwares and supply chain, you know, ERPs, or I would just say supply chain software and, you know, other spreadsheet software, and tried to, you know, smash all those together. It just wasn't working. So we saw this challenge and we had to overcome this in California. And then moving into Illinois, we saw that this is exactly, we saw a huge benefit of it in California, and this is something now we need to engage with somebody to be able to help us solve this for Illinois and then Arizona as well.
So, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So by expanding your operations, right, from one state to the next state, in this case, from California via Arizona into Illinois, as you're expanding your operations, all of these challenges seem to get compounded, right, by the volume of data and the variety of different systems that you need to interface with. Yes, that certainly makes sense.
Yep.
So we spend quite an amount of time on the discovery process, talking to all the stakeholders, making note and documenting all of the pain points and challenges. And then we continued into the next phase by investigating how our technical capabilities, how our technology stack can help to solve all of these challenges. And in this particular slide, this is a reference architecture that we proposed just to illustrate, right, the flow of data and how the Avalanche Cloud Data Platform can help to not only migrate that data from an on-premise application such as BioTrack THC or the backend database, the PostgreSQL backend database, but then also provide that data on the front end through a business intelligence application, in your case, Power BI, to then provide these real-time dashboards and the reports and even more through a unified interface. So the Avalanche Cloud Data Platform has three distinct service layers, right? As you can see here, first one being the data integration, right? The data integration layer, which allows you to bring in data from various different data sources, automatically connect to on-premise applications, and do the data transformation, apply the data quality routines, and then effectively normalizing that data for further consumption. The second layer, right, that we proposed as part of this architecture was our Avalanche Cloud Data Warehouse, which is at the core of our data platform. The data warehouse then provides all of the features and functions around data security, access control, and a SQL query editor and charting capabilities to provide a complete solution to be able to see that normalized data as it is now in the data platform. And then lastly, the third layer is what we call the data analytics layer. And that kind of relates to the unique way of how we can store and manage the data by being able to do what we call vectorized processing by treating data in a columnar fashion rather than row by row. That then makes it easier to partition the data set and to facilitate the data modeling and provide some of the core statistics needed to make a tool such as Power BI or any other BI application useful in the context. We provide native connectors. We have, for instance, a Postgres connector to connect directly to an on-premise database. And then Power BI, Microsoft Power BI features an Actian connector that can then directly connect to our cloud to data platform in two different ways. Power BI calls it direct query, which means it can access the data that is stored directly in the data platform without the need to cache any data, or then imported mode, which is then the ability to cache the data and make the dashboards more independent from a live connection into the data platform. Of course, the proposed outcome, and that is in line with what you wanted to achieve, Joe, was that you have a more streamlined inventory reporting capabilities, and then furthermore be able to do the analytic reports such as cultivation statistics, and then connect other aspects of your ERP system and CRM system that you use to be able to interface with the general ledger, and then lastly, facilitate financial planning and analysis, which I think was really one of the most important aspects that you were after.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking at this, if you're looking at it from a non-technical standpoint, the end result is we got the data that we wanted quickly and it's meaningful. Like that's really, getting the important data into the appropriate hands as quickly as possible and making sure that it's correct. I mean, that's what this is, and that's what this is doing.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the key challenge for us or for the technical team here at Actian was that we took a look at the Postgres database, which is that back-end database that serves BioTrack THC as a front-end application. So the first task for us, or the first technical challenge that we had, was getting access to that data set, but more importantly, to be able to reverse engineer the entire data model that is embedded in that on-premise database. It turns out that BioTrack THC is made up of 381 tables, hundreds of different sequences and operators and functions, but it's using a standard. It's using a standard, and it's the same standard that we use around structured query language. So we reverse engineered the entire data model, right, which serves that BioTrack application. We unlinked all of the data objects or tables inside of the Postgres database, migrated them into Avalanche, and then we linked all these tables back together to reinstate what we call the referential integrity, right? So it's not just one table that holds all of the data needed. It is a collection of different tables that are all related with each other, but through the power of the Avalanche Cloud Data Platform, we were able to reconstruct that needed referential integrity to be able to tie inventory to products, to be able to tie the manifest ID to a particular inventory transaction, and so forth. And that's what we solved through the proposed solution inside of the Avalanche Cloud Data Platform. So we've been doing that actually for a very long time, for actually more than 50 years. We helped customers manage the world's most critical data. We have a very seasoned and very experienced team that have a variety of different skill sets and domain expertise worldwide, right, in a variety of different locations. And it is the collective experience at Actian, that team, that really makes it fun to work for Actian as an organization, I can say so myself, but also then allows us to leverage and capitalize on the different domain expertise. In this particular case, we're talking about supply chain management, to be able to deliver just-in-time solutions such as for Aeriz.
What's funny about this, Robert, and actually probably goes to one of the questions that we had from one of the viewers of this. When we went and looked at, and this speaks to your team and just the team over at Actian, we went and looked at a lot of different vendors. One of the things that we said is, all right, here are the things that we need to solve for. And we don't have a massive team, like a massive tech team here by any stretch of imagination. We have, good folks, but it's not a huge team. So we went and we looked at a lot of vendors, and it was kind of completely by chance that you were the last, your team was the last vendor we looked at. And I don't know if you remember this, but I got an email from one of my coworkers who basically said, hey, these people are saying they can do things. They can make sense of our data in BioTrack. And I'm like, all right, well, we've heard this before. So I'm not too optimistic, but let's see. And I met with you first, and it was different. And so we had a different experience. It was, this is what we need to do. And instead of saying, oh yeah, we can do all of this, Q3 of 2024, we'll have it all built out. You said, let me see the data. Let me come back to you and show you what I can do. And that was a big differentiation for us. And then working with your team after that, it was very collaborative in that, we went to you, and we don't have all of these resources to be able to make sense of a lot of this stuff. Or if we did, it would be, that would be our full-time job. And we gave it to your team, and then your team made sense of it and really worked hand in hand and walked the subject matter experts. I mean, you all came on site. You walked our subject matter experts through the things that they need to know to be able to get useful information and I guess solve the problems that we were trying to solve.
Well, thanks, Joe. I'm happy to hear that, right? From my own personal view and perspective, right? I like to say that the data tells its own story, right? So by taking that approach to asking for the data up front, right, and then have an opportunity to really drill down into the data elements and then see what kind of insights that we can glean from, even before we do a full-blown discovery, like we mentioned earlier, right? I think it's really nice to hear that was the differentiator in this particular case that led to our collaboration and engagement.
Yeah, and we didn't have, to speak specifically about that question, we didn't have the level of expertise to be able to do not even the level of expertise, but the team behind it and the software behind it. So we didn't have those things. We knew what we wanted to solve for. We had competent people in their roles in the company, and we brought that to you all. And then you all worked hand in hand with us to come to that solution. So it wasn't a huge technical overhead for us to be able to do that. But I think that's definitely those two things were pretty important.
Well, thanks for saying that. And it's really just a combination, certainly with the expertise that we have at Actian, right? The collective expertise and team spirit that we have at Actian, but it also speaks to the technical capabilities of our technology stack, right? To once again be able to connect data, manage data, and analyze data in a very efficient and modern way. So that's what we do, right? We connect data, we manage data, and we analyze data, right? And we do that all in the cloud as the Avalanche Cloud Data Platform. The Avalanche Cloud Data Platform is a fully hosted and managed service by Actian, right? It takes away a lot of the technical debt and a lot of the grief and work that is typically needed, right? When you're running your own data center, when you're running a stack of on-premise applications that are completely disconnected from each other, right? As part of that feature spectrum and service layers of the data platform, we take care of monitoring, the full management of the stack, all of the maintenance, the patching, the updates, the backups, and then we provide all of the state-of-the-art security, authentication, and metering and alerts that are needed, right, to have a reliable and highly performant cloud-based software solution. We do that cloud agnostically, right? We can run on any public cloud provider, such as Microsoft Azure, Amazon Web Services, or Google Cloud Platform. And we do that by leveraging what is called containers, that then facilitate the elasticity and scalability of a solution. So as your organization grows, as you expand throughout the US, the scalability and elasticity is already built into the solution. We don't have to spin up additional servers, right? And then wait a couple days until that is all configured and up and running. It happens automatically, and we take care of it, right? Once again, by connecting data, we provide the ability to integrate to any data source that is out there, any data type, whether it's a SaaS application, whether it's a legacy application, or any other enterprise system out there. And then, of course, since we are a cloud-based application, we seamlessly integrate into other cloud-native services such as data lakes and even IoT and streaming data, right? And then we provide all of the data that is inside of the cloud data platform in a variety of different ways to accommodate the different personas, right? So whether you're a business analyst, a data engineer, or even a data scientist, right? Through our consolidated and unified user interface, we provide just the right interface for the different personas. So no matter what complexity needs to be applied, we have that unified interface to make it easy, no matter who you are, right? The benefits, of course, of a cloud data platform is that it is cloud native, it can scale on demand, it provides the speed, it provides predictable cloud costs and workload prioritization, and it can bridge the cloud skills gap that we see with a lot of organizations with that fully managed platform. And then as a true and native cloud application, it is highly available.
You know what's interesting about this as well, Robert, is one of the things, it was almost like I don't want to say it was going into it as a primary objective, but definitely it became a primary objective, is the fact that in all the states we operate, at least moving into this project, we didn't have the same systems. So being able to have something that can move across systems is pretty important for us. And it was important during the deployment of this because, you know, in California, we're doing something software-wise a little bit different and, you know, data-wise a little bit different than we are in Illinois, for example. But knowing that this solution is going to work for both of them moving into the project it became a pretty important point.
Yeah, that's good to hear. So through that unified interface, right? So even as you expand and you encounter other applications and other endpoints, maybe per state mandate or for regulatory and compliance reason, you might be confronted even with yet another application. The interface will stay the same, right? And the way we connect and import and migrate that data will be along the same process as we've already done for the BioTrack application. So once again, right, we connect data, we manage data, and we analyze data. So data integration provides the full visibility and the orchestration needed, right, to not only migrate the data once, but also provide incremental updates, right, to pull data from that Postgres database in a periodic fashion to do incremental updates, right? And we do that by providing a low-code, drag and drop type interface to build these integrations. It's very easy to build these integrations. We want to enable what we call citizen integrators, right, to build these data pipelines without the need to know any programming language. That is complemented by the fact that we have more than 200 pre-built connectors to pretty much any data source and any data type out there. And then furthermore, on top of it, we have a full feature set that allow you to profile the data and address any data quality aspects by enriching data, getting rid of duplicates, normalizing and serializing the data in a way so that the data set itself becomes 100% accurate. And only if you have accurate data then can you make real-time insights into the data. Right, the platform and the data integration capabilities also not only provide the design capabilities to build those data pipelines, but also provide all of the mechanisms to automate these integrations and have integrations run as jobs in periodic intervals, maybe once every minute, once every 5 minutes, so you don't have to continue to wait a couple days or even a couple of weeks, right, to get that update of that data. We have a lot of templates, right? You mentioned earlier, right, that you use Salesforce not only as your customer relationship management system, but you're also using an additional module for your general ledger purposes. And it is these templates, right, that we provide right out of the box that make it really easy to connect to Salesforce, right, to interface with any object that's embedded inside Salesforce, to include custom plugins and custom objects.
Yeah, so we just got a question to interrupt, but I think it's pertinent to what you're talking about right now. And it's just the time and financial investment. Like, how did we justify the time and financial investment that it comes into this? And your decisions with this, and it goes to that first point on your slide there, your decisions with this are only as good as the data that you have. And so if you are looking at bad data, you're going to make bad decisions. I think that we've all probably seen the result of not having visibility into either operational process, sales process, manufacturing process, whatever it is, and then making a decision based on what we think we want to see, or what we think we know. Once you actually see that and you have visibility to the data, the financial and time investment that it takes to be able to onboard and do this, is well worth it. And looking back at it, it's one of those things that as a company, I wish we did it 5 years ago. We probably wouldn't have had the same issues with growth that we did at the times we did if we had visibility. And that's, visibility and accuracy on data make it all worth it. You can make smart decisions quickly.
Yeah, that's good to hear there. Yes. So we connect to any data source, right? So as we connect to the data, right, we bring that data into the data platform, and then we manage that data, right? We store that data in an intelligent fashion, right? And we do that through cloud native technology, right? That then gives us some elastic scalability. So as the demands go up, or if the demands fluctuate, right, over time, it's that elasticity that the data platform provides, which then allows you to use only what you need, or what we commonly say, pay as you go, right? You don't have a server that's running 24/7 that requires regular patching and updates, right? The data warehouse can auto start, it can idle stop. You can schedule a warehouse to come up during business hours and then be shut down. And then dynamic scaling can be achieved without downtime, right? So if you have a peak, an unexpected peak, as far as workload demands are concerned against the data warehouse will automatically in the background scale up to accommodate that additional load. And then once again, I mentioned it earlier, that any updates and patches, as we continue to evolve our data warehouse offering as part of the data platform, all these updates happen in the background. These are live updates without any impact, that allow you to analyze the data without interruption. And then lastly, once again, we analyze the data, right, by being able to expose the data that's inside the data platform in a variety of different ways, right? And using a BI tool, in your case, Power BI, then allows you to execute high performance queries for ad hoc, predictive, and even prescriptive traditional workloads, right? It's very easy to connect to any favorite BI tool. We provide all of the documentation, all of the instructions to do so right within the console, within the data platform. And then in the case of Power BI, there's a native connector called the Actian connector that is very easy to set up, right? And then connect to the data warehouse right, without too much effort, right, to formulate a connection string and doing other things commonly needed, right, to establish that connection. We have a complete SQL editor, user-defined function support, and then advanced analytics, completely embeddable via a RESTful API. Everything that is exposed within the data platform is also accessible not only through the UI, through the console, but also via an API, so that if you're not using an established BI tool, but you want to interface with the data platform in a programmatic fashion, every feature and function that is exposed in the data platform is also available via the API. I already mentioned earlier, right, we take care of the security. We take care of the security and access control within the data platform. And then we also take care and make sure that regulatory and compliance rules such as GDPR in Europe, and I know California also has a consumer protection guideline when it comes to data. And we do that through data masking, through data encryption, and other methods that are embedded within the data platform. So through being able to connect, manage, and analyze the data all within one unified environment, the Avalanche Cloud Data Platform, we believe it's the most flexible cloud data platform that delivers trusted, real-time insights, making it much easier to get data from any source to decision with confidence and with speed. So as I mentioned earlier, right, we connect data. That means integration is at our core, right? And that's really a differentiator for the Avalanche data platform. It's not just a data warehouse, right? It is really a fully fledged data platform that takes care of every aspect of a common data stream. Bringing data in, storing the data, and then exposing that data on the output side, on the front end side. So integration is at our core, right? We enable your data fabric with flexible access, right? Integration and management of the data, and that improves the user trust with data quality and orchestration capabilities. It's a built-in ETL tool, right? But it's more than just ETL, right? It provides data profiling capabilities, data preparation capabilities, a full stack of data quality functions, and then lastly, the full automation stack, right? To be able to orchestrate the data pipelines in an automatic fashion that are easy to monitor, easy to maintain. And then once again, we do that on every public cloud provider, but we also do it through hybrid deployment models, right? So in this particular case, right, you will continue to use the BioTrack application that relies on that backend Postgres database. That's not going to change, right? But you are using this cloud-based data platform. So the hybrid deployment capabilities then allow us to continue getting data from that Postgres database, right, from that physical server where that application lives, bring it into the cloud, but then manage all aspects of that data inside of the data platform itself. All right, so the true Avalanche difference is, and our main premise is that we want to make data easy, right? And I hope, Joe, that throughout our engagement, we have shown that we take an easy approach on making data transparent, right, and providing that data, right. Once again, we want to enable you and all of our customers to make confident and data-driven decisions through superior performance, real-time analytics, built-in native integration, and flexible deployment options.
Yeah, you definitely have done that, Robert. I could say that with confidence now. Again, I know I keep saying this, but when you don't have visibility to things in real time, And when you don't have, and when you have to invest so much time into making sure, like basically just making sure that your data is accurate and that what you're seeing is real, and you spend all this time doing that, I mean, it's just a big time sink. I mean, we look at inventory, we look at, our plan inventory, things like that, and we see discrepancies before this, and then now being able to see those in real time, it just makes that much of a difference for us operationally. I mean, and so yes, it's been easy working with you and your team, and it definitely has been important for us to have that type of visibility.
Absolutely, likewise, and I want to extend a compliment there to you and your team and your organization as well. It has been fun working with you. I think throughout our engagement, we've had an opportunity to establish a huge amount of trust, right, and recognition for each other, and that's what makes it fun to work together, right? It is not just a transactional process between a software vendor and a customer, right? That's not the way I see it, right? And that's what provides me the motivation and dedication, right, to continue refining what we've put together, to expand on the solution, right, and sticking with you as you expand and encounter new challenges down the road, right, to continue that collaboration and that level of trust that we've established. It's certainly been a lot of fun working with you, and I'm certainly looking forward to continue doing so.
Yeah, you're an extension of our team right now, so it's a good thing. I like it.
Absolutely. So I want to thank everybody, all of the participants, the webinar. I hope the information that we provided was helpful to you, to give you some insights on what the Actian Data Platform is all about, and then more specifically how we address common or even unique challenges around supply chain management, right? And how we can leverage, how you could leverage, right, the benefits of a cloud-based data platform to do the same, right?
I have a question that came in privately for Joe.
Mm-hmm.
How are you defining success, since you said you spoke to many vendors?
So many vendors, at least for us, would say they can do things, and that's common. If anybody that's listening to this today have had, I'm sure they've had this experience. They've talked to a vendor. They say, okay, yeah, we can do that, and we can do that in Q3 of next year. It's coming down the roadmap Q1, or it's the third thing down the roadmap. And the success for us was not, we didn't need it next year, Q3. We didn't need it next year. We needed it now. And so when I started engaging with Actian and the Actian team, it was, here's our data. And they said, okay, let me show you what I can do. And, took that back, and then basically showed us, real time, like this is me breaking down the data that you have. Here's me putting it into, Power BI so you can visualize it. Here is me validating your out of system report. So all of that, I guess all of those were success criteria. It's not the one thing that they can do it. It was, they can do it, and they proved that they can do what we wanted. And it wasn't a down the line thing. It wasn't a sure, we'll get to that at some point. It was a right now, and we'll show you. That was success criteria for me.
Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Diane, are there any other questions that we want to address here during the webinar?
I don't see any more in the chat. However, we can open it up to live Q&A if people want to unmute themselves and ask questions.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to field any questions at this point. This is the end, right, of our presentation. So happy to field any questions. If you do have questions and want to follow up with us, we will provide you with all of the contact details needed, right, to reach out to us and follow up with anything that you've learned here during the webinar, or any other concerns that you might have. More than happy to address that, and I'm more than happy to provide any answers even after the webinar itself. All right, then with that in mind, once again, thank you everybody for participating in today's webinar, and I'll see you soon.